Hi, today in our tutorial we're going to cover InDesign CC 2021 Classroom in a Book Chapter 7, which is all about how to edit text and use some of the tools to help make sure that you don't have a lot of typos and other proofreading mistakes. So let's go ahead and dive into this one. Let's go into our lessons, grab our Lesson 7 folder, and grab the Start file. Now, depending on your computer, you may or may not have issues with fonts when this opens up. If you do, you can just say ignore for all or ignore for now because we are going to be changing part of them. If you are online, you should be able to connect to the program or just connect to online to the Adobe fonts to get it turned on. All right, so let's go ahead and do our preview. Let's make it normal. Let's make sure we are in our essentials. Let's do a file save as. And let's do a first initial last name underscore InDesign Classroom in a Book Chapter 7. And I'm in my 7 folder, so we're good to go. Let's push save and say OK. So the first thing we're going to do is, this is another case where we've got the text being developed in another program, Word, Google Docs, something else, and then we're going to import it and place it into our publication. So let's go ahead and our view screen extras or show frames is on. That's the way we can see our gold frame here. So the first thing we're going to do is come down here and change it from protecting your P's to protect your P's. So let's come down to the T to type and just delete that ing. And now we can see protect your P's actually fits better under that space, so we're doing better. Let's do Control S and save. Now let's go ahead and make sure we don't have anything selected. I'm going to click out on my pasteboard with my selection tool, and let's do a file place. And we're going to go ahead and grab the text for this article. So it's under Gardening Docs. So I'm going to make sure I'm in my lesson 7. And I want this one says Gardening Docs and open. I'm going to get that loaded cursor. Going to make sure that we're good to go, and let's go ahead and place it right here in this top folder, and it's already set, ready to go, and not very pretty, but we're going to work on that part. So the first thing we're going to do is do a text tool, select in here and do a Control A and select all. Next we're going to go ahead and add a style, so let's go into our paragraph styles. And I want to go ahead and change it to this body paragraph. So now it's starting to fit a lot better. Still a few issues. We still have some overset text, but that's okay. We're going to fix it. Let's do our edit, deselect, and let's go ahead and do a Control S to save. All right, next thing we're going to do is finding and changing some text. So the editor of this paper has now cited they don't want the word blackbird. They want every chance of bird to become blackbird. So we're going to take our type tool. We're going to click in this P's are easy to grow. Let's go to edit, find change, down here towards the middle-ish. And it's going to say, what do we want to find and what do we want to change? So it's still set from my last one. So what are we going to find? We are going to make sure we're looking for text. We want it to look forward. We want to put bird in here. We want to change it to blackbird. All right. And we want to make sure it looks in the story. We want to make sure that the case sensitive is not selected. So it's not. And whole word is not selected. So we're good there. Then we want to go ahead and let's do find next. So it's going to go ahead and show us we've got bird here. So let's go ahead and say change. So it's blackbirds. So I'm happy with that. Let's go ahead and do a change all. And it should have replaced all of our blackbirds at this point. Oh, if I did a blackbirds. So I'll have to fix that. Let's fix that one. There we go. Blackbirds. All right, I Control S to save that one. So now we want to actually change something else. So they want to change some formatting. They want the word tip to be purple, bold, capital letters. So first we have to find it. So we're going to be in here in text. We want to find the word tip, capital T-I-P. And we want we want the colon also. And we want to change it to capital T-I-P and a colon. And we want to make sure we do case sensitive as part of the search menu. And then it's going to say, okay, what do we want to do? We want to actually change some of the formatting. So let's do the change formatting to. So it's going to say, what do you want to change? And we're going to pop it up, and we want our basic character formats. We want to make sure that it is bold. And our character color is going to be purple cool. And we're going to say, okay. And let's see, now we've got a note up here that will say you're going to be changing some of your format. And we're going to say, all right, so let's go ahead and say find next. So it's got tip right there. We're going to go ahead and say change. So now it does all. Let's go ahead and say change all. So 2 more replacements. So now when we look in our story, we've got that tip in nice capitals, and we didn't have to go through and find each one. Works really well. Now another thing we're going to find out that we have to do is deal with spelling. So we're definitely going to make sure that we are using our spelling tools. So let's go into the beginning of our story. Let's go to edit and spelling and check spelling. And it's going to go through and say, just like regular spell check, so we know cotton is spelled wrong. So let's change that one. Gardener, we can see, is here. So let's change that one. Our soup, we do not want to change. Poi, we do not want to change. And orzo, we do not want to change. So let's ignore all those. And ricotta and pancetta. And we're done. So we've checked all of those elements. Good habit to get into is turning on your dynamic spelling as you're designing. So go to edit, spelling, make sure that dynamic spelling is checked. That way when you do underline or do make a typo, it will underline that for you. But you will only see it if you're in the normal mode. If you're in preview mode, you're not going to see the cute little red underlines that say you need to fix these. All right, so we can add words to our dictionary. So let's go to edit and spelling. And let's go ahead and do user dictionary. So maybe your last name gets spelled wrong all the time. So I'm going to add my last name, and I'm going to add it to the user dictionary and say done. So now when I put my name in, it should be in the dictionary, but it's clearly not. Somehow I didn't add it. Let's look one more time. Edit, spelling, user dictionary. This is not something I do very often. So word. Oser. Should say add. Mine's not saying add. I'm not worried about it right now. But there are ways to fix that as you go. You can also tell it to autocorrect as you go. So this is another one where you have to go to edit preferences or InDesign preferences. And let's go ahead to auto spelling or autocorrect. Here you go, autocorrect. Enable autocorrect allows it to automatically, as you're typing, fix things as you go. Pretty much most of us are pretty used to autocorrect. So let's go ahead and make sure you turn that on. Just kind of general things to think of as you are creating things and documents, especially if you are typing within InDesign. So next thing we're going to do is enable our drag and drop. So let's go into our edit preferences again. And we want to go into type. And type, we want to make sure that we have enable in layout view checked and enable in story view checked. So we've got OK. So now what we want to do is with our text type tool, take low calorie. We want to go right over it. We're going to highlight low calorie, and then we can should get the drag and drop icon. Okay, And we want to put it right after high protein. So it's going to go ahead and let us move that whole thing at once. I should have grabbed the comma, but I didn't. So let's go ahead and take care of that. All right, so that makes it very easy for you to do. All right, so sometimes we need to use what's called the story editor, which allows us to look at the text in kind of a different way. So let's go to View, Fit Spread in Window. And let's go to the Type tool. Let's go to the top of this third column, or it starts with Filled Out. Let's do the Fallow Crops right here, Follow Crops. Let's do Edit, and Edit in Story Editor. And you're going to notice we've got some issues here. Right down here, it's going to show us we've got some overset text. So we definitely want to make sure that we fix that. To do that, what we're going to do is just take out a sentence. So we're going to go right before recipes and take out this one sentence that starts up to, should be, if the peas. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take out that sentence. And now you'll see we've got rid of our overset text. We do have an extra end at the bottom, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete that and do a Control S and save. So maybe you want to be able to track your changes. Maybe you've got multiple people working on an assignment, maybe trying to make sure that you can keep track of what's going on. So let's go ahead and leave our story editor open. Let's go into Type and come down here to Track Changes. And let's do Track Changes in Current Story. So now if we decide to go in here and instead of making it, what they have, something about peas. Imagine that. Let's just add our name. So now we can see in our story editor, we've got that orange, which lets us know, hey, this is a section that has been changed, and really lets you kind of check and see where things are. So definitely don't want to leave me in there. So let's leave that out. Close your story editor. So this is a relatively simple and easy one to do, but it does show you some really nice ways to make sure that you are turning in the best possible product. So let's go ahead and do a file save. Let's do a file package. Let's go ahead and package it. Should be in my lesson 7 folder. And instead of folder, put PKG and package. Alrighty, let's go ahead and take a peek. So I've got my chapter 7 PKG with my fonts. I don't have any linked images this time. I have an IDML, I have an INDD, and a PDF, so I'm good there. Let's do a right click and send to compressed folder. Alrighty, and that is the one you're going to go ahead and turn in for chapter 7, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with this time. See you later. Bye.